Welcome to Bourbon Sauced. Today's episode is called Hold My Bourbon, Watch This. In today's episode, we're going to talk about off-roading gone wrong and some of our results of drinking and off-roading. We've got Ryan and myself, Dan. Grab your favorite bourbon and join us for the show. Before we get into it, Ryan, which bourbon are you sipping on?
Well, today, in honor of, holding my bourbon and watching this, I decided to go with Knob Creek, the 9 year. Pretty smooth. You can find it in just about any liquor store out there. Run you somewhere between $45 and $60, depending on where you're hunting around at.
Nice. Myself, I'm doing Heaven's Door. It's the 10-year, age 10 years, decade series. It's a straight bourbon whiskey. It's got a bit of that rye mix, most Heaven's Doors. Just over 20% rye in the mash bill for this thing, but it's not bad. I still think I like double-barreled bourbon by them best. I seem to find some of their other ones are a little bit too much rye for me, and I'm not much of a rye drinker, so
Got that extra bite.
yeah, and I don't like it.
Fair enough.
So we both like to do some off-roading, right?
Absolutely.
There's nothing more exciting, I think, than getting together with your peoples, friends, whoever, and doing some trail riding and whatnot. So far together, we've had minimal mishaps together, but alone or historically, at least in my instance, it's a total different story. As we both know, I'm pretty reckless with my vehicles to begin with on the road. So when I'm off-road and there's little to no rules, I'm absolute chaos. So
yes.
with that, let's dive into some of my idiotic off-roading adventures because that will, I'm sure, lead to some hilarious moments.
We'll be here all night.
We could be. I mean, I've done a lot of dumb shit, and most of it involves alcohol. So, to those of you out there, don't drink and drive, first of all. It's illegal. We don't want anyone to get in trouble. We don't condone it. So, just know that. Start off with me. I have a side-by-side, a little Razor 900, and I like to take it off-road a lot. And, I had it probably 2 days, and I had flipped it. There wasn't even anything around me. I was just riding with my brother, and I decided I was going to try to do some donuts, and I turned in a little too sharply to start the donuts, and I fucking flipped the thing.
Was your brother okay?
He wasn't with me. He was riding in his own. So, yeah, he was absolutely okay. He was laughing his ass off as I had to kick out my windshield to then crawl out of the front of the thing, which is the one picture on our
On
Instagram
Yes, sir.
of me standing there like all triumphant, like, yeah, I didn't die, but I fucking already flipped my Razor in less than a week old. And that's kind of where the adventure started with that Razor because it progressively got worse. And a girl I was dating, I let her drive it, and she did the exact same thing and put it on the other side of the Razor. So then I had matching damage on both sides.
That's what you call turning the other cheek.
Yeah, really. I mean, essentially, that's kind of what happened. But,
Or would that be his and her door panels?
yeah, I don't know. Either way, it got double rolled. So that thing has definitely lived up to its hype of being durable.
Yeah.
And I should be like a product test person because there's no one better to if it's gonna get rolled, it's gonna be me that's gonna do it because I've rolled an ATV twice. I've rolled my side by side twice. I haven't rolled a vehicle yet. I have gotten my vehicle stuck numerous times. I've floated my side by side, as in I was down in the creek here, and I decided, man, let's see how far this thing can go in water. And it's not a high lifter, so it doesn't have snorkels on it.
No, it does not.
So it doesn't breathe well underwater. It's just like a person. You need oxygen. And I found that out because I figured, well, if I just stay on it and I keep blowing the water out of the exhaust and it maybe won't take it in anywhere else. But I forgot that there's where the clutch is on that.
Yeah.
There's there's an intake for the air
Yes.
to get into that housing,
Uh-huh.
and the water just goes straight in there, and then the belt just starts slipping because it's just engorged in water. So I did find
Engorged,
that.
huh?
Engorged, yeah. Like a veiny, triumphant bastard engorged.
Fair enough. All right.
So I definitely found out that razors aren't like a boat. Trucks aren't like a boat because neither one of them really float in water as well as you'd think they will. And once you do submerge them, it can do some pretty irreversible damage.
I have to say, I would have never guessed or even contemplated that either of those would float.
Yeah, well, sometimes when I have a few, I get these harebrained ideas that maybe it will. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see what happens.
Basically, you're saying if a tank can drive in water and have a propeller on its ass, that those two things should be able to float.
Yeah. Duh.
Fair enough.
So, I think the thing I've definitely learned about off-roading is not to do it alone, because every time I do go alone, I'm an unsupervised child, and I am still an adult, but I'm like one of those people that without someone else to have some sort of like reason.
I can attest to that.
Right.
I feel like at times I'm your Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, sometimes, and that's even happened on the property. We're riding out there on the 90 acres, and a lot of times like, Dan, don't do it. I'm like, what? I know what you're thinking. Don't do it. All right. I guess I won't fucking decide to go off road somewhere, but fuck.
I feel like we have our moments. We counterbalance each other in certain aspects.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's most friendships. There's usually that counterbalance that kind of happens. And sometimes it doesn't, and then that's when it gets crazy, because then if we're both in it, like...
Oh, if we're both in it and
yeah.
nobody's Jiminy Cricketing it, it
can get hairy real quick.
Yeah.
I remember, taking my truck out in North Carolina, and...
Which one?
The black Silverado that I had.
Oh, the 2500 gas that I talked so much shit about for you having a gasser?
Mm-hmm, yeah. And I thought, because it's a Z71 and it's 2500, it should be okay off-road. And for the most part, it was all right. I had 33s on it, and it did okay, except for when I high-sided it in some water, and then, I had to call a wrecker to drive all the way back in the back of like Mott Lake there near Bragg.
Yep.
Which, by the way, you're not supposed to really off-road back there. There's signs everywhere that say not to really do that, but people do it anyway. And luckily, this guy...
I like how you said people do it anyways.
Yeah.
It's like, just so everybody knows, I'm not the only one.
I'm not the only idiot that's out there. Trust me. Because there was a guy with his Jeep tried to pull me out, and it was a 2-door Jeep. And I was like, dude, you're not going to be able to pull me out. He's like, oh, no, it'll be fine. Watch. He just buried himself.
See, hold my bourbon. Watch this.
Yeah, he just buried himself trying to pull me out. And I was like, bro, you're making this worse. Yeah, I have to remind myself that some trucks are not really off-road trucks, even though it says that, Z71 package off-road capable. Sure, you can go off-road to some degree.
Yeah, they're not telling you that it's like a 4x4 rock crawler. They're telling you it's off-road capable for, like, i.e. the guy that hunts or the guy that's on a construction site. The simple Simon Says off-road, not the I'm going balls to the walls through this creek and this mud hole and we're going to see where it goes.
Well, in my defense, I had gone through that little hole before. It just wasn't as deep as it was this time, and I think something else had gone prior and rutted it out more than it had been.
That's your life experience. Something's been there first.
Oh, God. Very rarely is it rutted out before I get there, though. But yeah, I definitely learned that if I want an off-road vehicle, I need to get one that's more specific for that. Whatever it is I'm doing, whether it's going to be a rock crawler or,
That Defender would have been great.
It was great. The problem with that thing is it had so many issues that I had to continuously repair.
Yeah.
that I was tired of it. I was like,
That's why you just need to buy you a decent Jeep
well, that's what I'm trying to do.
that you don't mind beating up.
Yeah, I've been looking, and I just don't want anything that's got a shit ton of miles. But the more I look, the more I'm probably going to have to get something that's got like 60,000 plus miles just for it to be stomachable, palatable, whatever the word is, tolerable.
That's why I'm saying we just take the Jeep Cherokee, tear it apart, make sure the wiring's working, because that was what the issue was.
Yeah.
And then you slap on some of them little half doors and you just beat the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And then it didn't cost anything other than what it took to get it running again.
Well, there is that. But speaking of Jeeps, I had a Jeep, but it was a Grand Cherokee. So it was, like the mall crawler.
I had the Jeep you wanted.
And I thought, again, because it's got 4-wheel drive, or all-wheel drive in this case, and it said trail rated, that you could take it off-roading. And lo and behold, I got it stuck.
You should have asked which trail rating it was, because there's
Yeah.
actual different ratings for trails.
You know what? Obviously, the Jeep Rubicon, Wrangler Rubicon, is like the pinnacle of off-roading.
Mm-hmm. With the hard rock package where it's got the rock rails.
All that, right?
Mhm.
And where it's got disconnecting sway bars, the
Yes.
lockers. Then you have like the Jeep Wrangler Sport. Just got 4-wheel drive, the ability for high and low.
Still got plenty of people tearing them up.
Still plenty of torque to get you through certain things, but definitely not made for rock crawling. Definitely not made
Not
for
at all. Not at all.
bogging. So then you have the mall crawler that I was driving, the soccer mom mobile, and that is basically like if you're gonna take your kids to a soccer game and you need to drive through the grass and park in a field,
Right.
off-roading.
Yes.
Not, hey, let's go traipsing through this muddy field and see how far we can get. Because I am telling you right now, it will not make it.
No, it will not.
Not even a little bit. I got stuck. And then my brother got stuck. And then we had to pull us both out. But we talked about that before with the car
I
thing.
don't know. I don't want to know what you and your brother have done together and got stuck together.
God.
I'm just saying.
I don't know. I've definitely been a part of a lot of dumb decision making. And alcohol's almost always involved. There was a time when I had a little Polaris. It was probably like a 250 or something. It was a smaller one, the Hawkeye. It was a Polaris Hawkeye, and I got it because it was what I could afford at the time. And my buddy had one of those Can-Am, fucking 800 beastly side by ATVs.
Yep.
The Outlander. And so, I'm trying to keep up with him on trails and everything else. And there was a time when he went up this little embankment and he did fine. I tried to go up that embankment and I rolled backwards. Literally flipped my little quad on top of myself. Luckily, I had my helmet on because there was a huge gash right in the top of my helmet where I had hit a rock.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then, same trip, we were going down because we're doing like a poker run.
Yeah.
Where you stop somewhere, you take a card, drink some, go to the next place.
Wait, we're talking ATVs on blacktop?
Well, mixture. So it was like we had hit some hardball, we'd hit some gravel, we'd hit some farmer fields, wherever we're, because this was like middle of nowhere, fucking upstate New York border in Pennsylvania area. And I went up onto the farm field and everything was fine. And they came down a little farther because I was slow from everybody, but I didn't know where they came off.
Right.
And so I was starting to come off because at this point I think I was in the middle of the pack. And when I came down, I found one of those culvert drainage pipes.
Yeah.
Like the concrete ones, the big ones. And I fucking smashed head into that with my ATV, right? So I go airborne Superman over my handlebars, literally flying through the air. My buddy Nate on his Bombardier or Outlander comes flying literally milliseconds in front of me and like slams on his brakes because then I just tumbled behind him and I stand up and I'm like, holy shit, you almost killed me. And everybody's like, what the fuck? That ATV was fucked beyond belief. Like I snapped the half shafts. 4-wheel drive didn't work on it anymore. Like
I was gonna say, I'd say
I
that was
fucked
gone.
that thing up so bad, but didn't learn my lesson because I still go balls to the wall when I'm off road. You know, I just don't care. I'm very reckless when there's no rules. When there's no rules, it's like, look out. There's no telling what the fuck I'm gonna do.
So you're that guy that we have to have the waivers for and signing all these legal documents before you enter the park.
I am that guy. Why you have warning labels on things too, on some things.
Coffee, maybe hot.
Yeah. Do you have any instances where you got yourself stuck?
I have plenty where I got myself stuck,
Yeah.
but I have a lot of dumb shit.
Okay, do tell.
Not so much. So I will say. So I had this nice Yoda, an '82 Yoda,
Uh-huh.
right? Like people would literally offer to buy the front end of my truck.
Just for the axle?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like we just want your front end.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with the rest truck? We don't care. We want your
Like
front
some
end.
Dana
right?
60s or Dana 40, whatever
It was indestructible.
Yeah.
It was amazing, right? So had that engine blew. It had the 22R engine in it. The engine blew,
Mhm.
so had to have it towed. Well, I break down and decide to buy a brand new single cab Chevy Colorado 2-wheel drive. Because I'm young, I'm dumb, I'm 19, I don't have a clue, right?
Yeah.
So I let a guy down at the dealership local in Clarksville convince me to purchase this vehicle. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm cornbread fed, small town.
Yeah.
Right? So anyways, fast forward, we're all hanging out with my platoon, and we'd go out on the weekends. We'd go out to LBL. There's a section that's still owned by the Corps of Engineers.
Okay.
Okay, used to everybody could go. You go mud, 4-wheel camp, and you didn't pay a dime,
Nice.
right? And then some jackasses started driving off of it onto a farmer's property.
Oh.
So Corps of Engineers came in, fenced the whole thing off, no more access.
Yep. That's all it takes.
Right? So they're all shit talking me. So I take this 2-wheel drive, single cab, Chevy Colorado, and we're talking. If you don't have an ATV, you don't have 4-wheel drive and a winch, there's certain parts of this place you're just not going to do.
Mm.
Well, it had rained a lot. I mean, a lot. So we're talking some serious water, some bogging and stuff. Well, rather than me take the time to actually have to bog through the stuff, I would just start flooring it and skid because the truck was so light right on across the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I would make it over to where we were camping and stuff, and they'd be like, what the hell, man? So the next morning, not only is my truck stuck, but 2 other trucks are stuck, 3 4-wheelers are stuck, and two dirt bikes are stuck. We had camped close enough to the lake edge that when the tide had come in,
Oh, God.
it had literally moistened up the ground enough under the vehicles and everything to sink them down. So every vehicle was pretty much sunk. Like all the ATVs were sunk over their rims. The dirt bikes were almost to the top of their rims. My truck was way down. And then the 4x4 trucks were at least halfway up their tires. So you're talking, we're having to wait. It's like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, right? We're trying to 4-wheel some more. It's Saturday. We're having to wait till people that just come out for the day so that we can have all these vehicles towed out so that we can even start anything.
So nobody brought a winch?
They had winches, but they were parked too far from the tree line.
They couldn't winch to another vehicle and like pull?
It wouldn't have done you no good. The way everything was staged,
Oh,
it was
God.
like a motor pool line. Everything was staged online.
That sucks.
Yeah. Like we were able to like pull the dirt bikes out and you
Yeah.
could go ride the dirt bikes and like wedge some of the 4-wheelers out, but the trucks you could forget.
Fuck that
They had to be
shit.
pulled out.
So basically, don't park near water.
Anywhere that you think the water line will
Yeah.
come up, tide and stuff, because nobody thinks about a tide on a lake or a pond,
Well, no, because
but on a lake, it's a thing.
that water does recede
Well,
everywhere.
We learned that a lot that day. Okay, got
Yeah.
a proper education.
Yeah. Sounds like it was a learning experience for everybody.
I
It could have
think.
been a lot worse.
Oh, it could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Because if you guys parked any closer, you might have lost some of those side by or the ATVs or dirt bikes if the water got in those.
Oh, you very well could have.
That would have sucked bad because then you would have had to figure out how to get those out of there because you don't have no ramps to put them on the trucks.
Nope.
So that would have been a real pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, you'd have been trying to tow them the best you could, and
Yeah.
let's just say getting out of there was not that easy.
Well, you already said getting in was a pain in the dick. So
Well,
I can only
for a
imagine.
two-wheel drive truck, hell yeah, it was. But that's why you just hit it and go.
Yeah, I can only imagine trying to leave it. And now everybody's been riding and rutting it up even worse, and it's soup. You're trying to drive through with a two-wheel drive truck.
Now 4x4 rodeoing is where it's at.
4x4 rodeoing.
Yeah, so one of the guys that we would go out with had a gooseneck hitch in the back of his 1500 4x4.
Mm-hmm.
So we had rigged up a strap to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you would stand in the center of the bed of his truck, stand up, and you would hold that strap, and he would do donuts.
Oh God, you guys are just looking to be launched.
It happened occasionally.
I'm sure it does.
And then sometimes, you win and you're like, yeah, kiss my ass, I'm number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes you're the one that's eating the mud pile.
And I was gonna say people that are standing around watching are getting flung with mud.
Oh, absolutely.
So
You learn to back up.
yeah, right.
But you're not holding anything while you're doing that. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trying to have something in one hand and hold that strap and not happening, Captain.
I've also gotten stuck a mower. My riding mower.
I've gotten mowers stuck before.
Yeah. That's an easy one to get stuck though, because if the deck is too low sometimes.
Yep.
It's like you just really need to lift the deck and you're unstuck.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still frustrating because you'll be going along and all of a sudden you hit like a dip or something and your tires are spinning. You're like, what the fuck, man?
It's okay. Straight ass sober the other day when I was at the property, I got the zero turn stuck. Had to hook Rusty up to the zero turn to pull it out and took the passenger side door out with the tree stump.
I was gonna ask about that.
So I'm just saying, that's dead sober.
Yeah, So when it comes to recovering people that are stuck, I guess there's some good and bad techniques to doing that.
Yes.
I'd say some bad ones are if you are trying to pull a bigger than you vehicle, heavier than you vehicle, at least make sure that your winch or whatever you're using is rated.
Oh, 100%. Your equipment needs to be rated to handle the weight you're hooking it to.
Because I've seen a lot of, there's a lot of people out there like, oh, well, I can get you out. I got a winch. Okay, buddy. First of all, your winch is rated for like 9,000 pounds.
Right.
My truck, any of the trucks that I've had, or 2500s, are way heavier than that when they're stuck. To get it unstuck, you need that much more force to pull it out because it's suctioned in most of the time.
Right.
And people don't realize that because they're like, oh, well, your truck was only like 4,000 pounds, 5,000 pounds, or whatever. My winch should be able to pull you out. Not exactly true. So, just something to think about. If you use snatch blocks or something.
But even using a snatch block, you got to make sure that snatch block
Right.
is rated correctly.
Because that's the other thing. People buy those cheap little knockoff Harbor Freight or something off of Amazon, and they're like, it's a snatch block. So if I use two of these, 2-to-1 and 3-to-1 polling should have more pull power.
What is that brand?
Which one? The Badlands
We
from Harbor Freight?
No, we use them because I had ordered them for the tree cutting.
Oh, the
stuff.
ARB or
Is it ARB?
I have some ARB
It's the
ones.
orange ones, the American something.
Oh yeah, the American Off-Road Association or something like that.
Something like that. But the ones that we had were really good.
Yeah, they're rated for sure. Which was also a funny thing when we were trying to do the tree chopping with my side-by-side, and it almost pulled my side-by-side off the ground because that tree was so heavy.
But we didn't have the snatch blocks.
No, but I don't think it would have mattered because of how light my side-by-side is and how heavy that tree was.
I'm just glad that we had enough time to get Rusty hooked up and then continue.
Because that could have ended really bad.
Yeah, it was going right for my camper.
Yeah, it would have been bad for you and me because I would have to pay for all that damage. Damn
it, why didn't I let it fall?
Yeah. I would just be like, here, have mine. Fuck it. Because then I would just, I don't know. I still want trade mine at some point and get a toy hauler. But I
The
digress.
summer's not over, and there's lots of storms. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but we got rid of most of the trees that were gonna possibly do damage to that.
You never know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, by the way. I like my camper.
Do you?
I mean,
You got all of it torn apart right now. It's half of it's in my garage.
I know, and I'm still going to continue tearing it apart. Like, as soon as I get 2 or 3 days of nice weather,
Yeah.
I'm gutting that sucker.
Yeah.
It's going to be mine.
Well, it already is yours.
Oh, I'm going to make it mine.
You're gonna put your spin on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm getting us off topic.
That's all right. It happens. Almost inevitably, every episode after we've had a few, we get sidetracked and have to round robin back. So speaking of things that could go wrong, I could just think of when you guys are doing that off-road rodeo, how much worse it could have ended for somebody. Because when you fly out of the back of a vehicle
Mhm.
and you don't necessarily have the wherewithal,
Mhm.
and that truck keeps spinning, it could come back and smack the shit out of you and fucking do some real damage.
It's possible.
Oh, yeah. And it's also possible to fly out of the back and break your neck or something if you land wrong.
And planes crash and people get into car accidents.
I'm just saying, I think men in general do really dumb shit.
Yeah, it's a whole masculinity thing.
And I know a lot of it is like ego stroking and, whatever. We're trying to prove that we're the alpha, or, whatever it is in the hierarchy of most groups of friends. Nobody wants to be the bitch,
Right.
So it's inevitable that anything that can go wrong will go wrong when you have a bunch of guys together and they're drinking and you're off-roading. That is just a fact. Because someone's going to be like, oh, I bet you I can get over that obstacle. And next thing you know, dude's fucking flipped his shit over. And everybody's standing
But
there
see,
like,
here's the thing. You take 10 guys drinking alcohol.
yeah.
Most of the time, those 10 guys drinking alcohol end up doing dumb shit, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you take 10 women drinking alcohol, and most of the times, by the time somebody comes home, somebody's marriage is ended because they've all congregated and spun this web of shit.
Yeah.
And really what it boiled down to is the 10 guys got drunk and played Uno.
Yeah, I feel like those girls also, there's more crying involved or emotionality.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, though, guys do it too when we're drunk.
The difference is guys don't, like, they handle it.
Some do.
And then we usually don't. It's not a thing after that.
Right.
Like, if you need a moment, you need a moment.
Right. But I'm trying to think of other moments that could have actually ended worse than they did.
I mean, I've flipped four-wheelers on myself. I've launched dirt bikes out from under me.
There was a time when I flipped a side-by-side, or not side-by-side, an ATV. I was working on a farm, and I had the farmer's kid on back with me because we were going out to feed the cows.
Yeah.
And we were riding along where the tractor normally goes, and we hit one of the tire ruts.
Yeah.
Just wrong, or just right, either way you look at it, and flipped. And his son went flying off. I was pinned underneath it. His son almost went into the electric fence. And there was a puddle there, so he could have really been.
That would have hurt.
Yeah, it would have hurt a lot more for him because he was small. He was probably like 10.
Yeah, that would have hurt.
10 or 12, So for a little kid to get shocked by the fence, it sucks now when you touch one of those goddamn fences.
He would survive because that fence usually pulses.
And it would probably short it out.
Yeah.
My guess.
But it would have hurt like hell.
It would have absolutely hurt like hell.
Oh, I would have been so mad at you.
And I'm lucky that nothing happened because he didn't even tell his dad that it had happened. And so we never had to tell his dad that happened. But now if he ever were to hear this podcast, well,
you'd be getting a phone call.
I'd be getting a phone call. But that was so long ago. I don't think they would care. We used to do a lot of dumb shit on that farm anyway. That was the least of the
I've
problems.
done more dumb shit on motorcycles.
Really?
But we don't even want to get into that conversation.
That's going to be another topic of discussion is dumb things we do in motor vehicles in general. Because
all my dumb shit is either ATVs or motorcycles.
Yeah, I like I said, man, anytime I'm off road, it's like there's a switch that goes off in my brain. Like don't worry, you're off road. What's the worst can happen? You're wearing a helmet most of the time. Most of the time. Sometimes I'm not. And like if I'm on my side by side, I'm not usually wearing a helmet because I'm like, fuck it, I got a roll cage.
I don't know that I've ever worn a helmet in an ATV on an ATV or a side by side.
See, ATV, almost always I'm wearing a helmet.
And the only reason I wear a helmet on a motorcycle is because the Army says I had to.
Yeah. See, if I had a motorcycle, I would wear a helmet too. Because I know my luck, one, and I know how I am. And if I get in a wreck, it's gonna be bad.
I've wrecked every motorcycle I've ever owned.
Well, the one you have now is just sitting in a storage unit.
Well, that's because that had an engine blow up. And we
Well,
don't even want to get that.
Yeah, that was
But ultimately, every accident on the bike has
Harley's fault, but
zero been my fault.
yeah. Well, what about getting dirty?
While getting dirty?
What about doing the dirty while getting dirty?
Oh, yeah.
You ever taking a girl out there off roading, and next thing you know, you're muddy and your just clothes are peeling off, and
Yes.
oh yeah,
It's better than sex on a beach.
yeah, because sex on the beach is horrible. You get sand in all kinds of weird spots.
Sex on a beach sucks. Sex after being out mudding is just downright great.
Yeah, it's like two pigs rolling around in a mud pie.
Damn right. It's pigs in slop, and you just roll and let the juices fly.
But that could be worse too, because if you get any of that swampy mud in any orifice, you could have real problems.
Yeah, but there's usually
Likelihood.
water around somewhere. You
Yeah.
can splash it on the key areas to
Gosh.
rinse it off first. But typically, you're not wearing a bikini mudding, so
Yeah.
your pants or shorts have already protected that.
Well, yeah, but once you take it off, now there's a chance of
Yeah, but that's usually just on your arms and stuff.
yeah, I guess so.
I mean, I'm not gonna grab her and go dive in the mud hole and get naked.
that would be funny as fuck, though. She probably wouldn't like it at all. But I mean, for
No.
us, it's like guys are built so we can go through all kinds of stuff and not really worry about having any sort of issues.
Yeah.
Women are like an incubator for fucking problems,
Oh yeah, I know.
namely babies. But
Well, not just that. You get too much yeast in there and all kinds of craziness. But anyways,
someone's baking sourdough.
yeah, I know. And as much as I like sourdough, that ain't the oven I want it coming out of.
No, that's like gone wrong sourdough. That is extra yeasty.
That's sour don't.
Yeah. If you smell it at the belly button, turn around and go back.
So you don't follow the happy trail.
No, don't go down there. That's a dead end. Things go to die down there. It smells like it. It smells like death.
Do not follow the yellow brick
It's
road.
the cave of death. And anyway, me personally,
Cork down, cork down.
there's only been a few instances for off-roading and getting it on, but it's usually not on like ATV or side by side. It's usually like if I was off-roading in my truck or something, and then
Oh, it's so easy on a four-wheeler, especially when it's got a backrest.
I get it.
You just turn around, jerk them shorts off, and boom, you're right there.
I know. I get the logistics of it. It's just
You just haven't had the opportunity as much.
no, I've had opportunity. I think I just never thought to do it because I was enjoying so much of the off-roading experience that euphoria led to the bedroom later. Like it didn't get to the point where my animalistic instincts took over, because that happens at other times when I was just like, I gotta have it, and then
Yeah. Oh no, the outdoors thing
riding
for
horses.
me.
Riding horses.
Well, we've already talked about
We
me
did,
and horses.
but I'm just saying that's kind of off-roading.
Yeah, it is, but
it's different because you're elevated from everything and you're on the horse.
yeah, but there's just something for me in the great outdoors.
Yeah.
Like
Don't get me wrong.
I go primal pretty quickly.
Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't turn it down if a girl was like, "Let's get it on." I'd be like, "Okay, we're doing this." Don't worry about it. I mean, have I done it in the woods? Absolutely. Do I do it during off-roading events? Not normally. It's just not a time when I think to do it.
And surprising, I have the most sex I've probably ever had in my life has been outdoors while off-roading.
Your mom's never gonna let you go off-roading by yourself now. If she sees you with a girl now, she's gonna be like, "That's it, Ryan. No more ladies in the woods."
Nope. They just keep trucking if they're with us.
You're gonna end up with little gnomes running around.
Hey, you know what? There's a sawmill
To
This is
know
how you
me
run
is
it.
to love me.
Right? To know means to know.
Right.
Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
Doesn't do me any good in the future.
Doesn't do good in the present unless you learn a lesson and you don't repeat it. But that's a different story, especially when it comes to making babies. But getting stuck off road go hand in hand just as much as drinking and off road go hand in hand. For me,
Yes.
I don't know for everyone else, but for me, that's normally a true statement because like next weekend we'll be off roading
Yep.
most likely. Shit, I have to figure that logistic out. But
That's easy to figure out.
yeah, I'll just buy another razor down there at the property.
Okay. Okay. Sure. We can do that.
Right?
I know right where to go.
Yeah, I know. No
Mhm.
shit.
We'll go ahead and might as well go ahead and get a 4-door.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we'll rig up some harnesses in the back seat for the dogs.
Yeah. He doesn't do well. I take him in the razor and he is not a fan. He I don't know if it's too noisy or what it is, but your dogs don't mind.
What
but-
I'm learning with Thor, your dog,
yeah.
he's not a solo dog rider.
No, if other dogs are there, he's cool.
Yes.
But if he's by himself, he's petrified. He doesn't
He's
know what
like,
to do.
I don't know what. It's like Ricky Bobby. What do I do with my hands?
It's literally the same way because he's like gets like rigor mortis and just sits there all
Yeah.
frigid and scared looking. I'm like,
Right.
dude, you were just in a truck with your mom and dad riding around in a fucking truck and you're fine.
Yeah.
I take you in a side by side to go down by the creek where you're gonna have a lot of fucking fun.
Yeah.
And you freak out.
But as soon like if you open the side by side door, Roxy's in. Like, okay, where are
I
we
know
going?
because when we were at the property, we
Yep.
did that, and she jumped, and I was like, "Bitch, get off me!"
She's like, nope, we're going. Let's go.
I was like, "At least sit in the passenger seat." No, she wants to be right on my lap
Yep.
while I'm driving.
Yep.
That's-
And she's like, let's roll, bro.
I'm like, that's so awkward. Her
Mhm.
bony ass little paws.
Mm-hmm.
You got any other off road stories you want to share before we wrap this up, or?
No, I think I'm pretty solid on off road stories. I mean, I've flipped ATVs, I've flipped dirt bikes,
Yeah.
you know.
No other big vehicles getting stuck that you've had of your own. None of that.
None of the big vehicles I've ever owned. Honestly, I can't think of a single time I've had any of my big off road vehicles stuck.
Let's go get the Ranchero stuck.
Right, because I could probably drive that anywhere and get that stuck. I mean, you're talking 2-wheel drive here.
But it's a truck married with a car. It should be
is.
able to off road.
It's a Gran Torino meets an F-150.
I'm just saying, it looks like it should be able to off road.
It doesn't have
What if we
off-road
put
tires.
off road tires on that? Oh no, it still would probably get stuck.
I mean, it would get stuck, but if we had if it was raised higher,
So
I
we
could
could
still
put a
kinda
6-inch lift
maneuver.
on it
I could
and
still
put some
maneuver.
33s on there.
probably, yeah.
But then we'd need to put in like an electric locker.
Well, you would have to convert it to 4-wheel drive.
Not necessarily. I think if you just put a locker in for the back.
Yeah.
And then it would be okay. Because then it would just be able to push itself out.
Yeah, but why would I want to take something that's 1973
'Cause it'd be
and take
funny.
it off? It would be funny.
You
But
know,
there's
you-
a difference.
You ever
There's a
s-
difference.
You ever see those ridiculous vehicles? Speaking of, have you seen the one on Riverside Drive? Like, there's this off-road place down there, and then on the right-hand side, if you're gonna go towards, like, if you're leaving from here,
Yep.
and you're going down towards Taco Bell, for instance, right?
Just before Taco Bell on the right.
Well, it's not just before, so it's probably before the tire. No, I have to think about where the fuck it is. I'll take a picture next time. But it's a Civic, and it's lifted with off-road tires on it, and a rack on the
I know
roof.
what you're talking about.
It's fucking hilarious. Every time I see that, I just think that is so Tennessee. That's such a Tennessee thing to do.
No. Like, if I was going to do something like that, I would take a Volkswagen.
A Volkswagen what?
Beetle.
A Beetle. Okay. Yeah. Well, because those are normal for Baja.
Yeah.
Like, that's a normal
But
thing.
I would do
yeah.
that. Or, I mean, a Volkswagen van would be pretty cool, too, to put some monster swampers on.
No, I would do the Ford Econovans because they made those 4x4 Econovans for a while.
Yeah.
And then you could put the tires on that.
Yeah,
That
but
would be-
those econo vans are like,
they're tall as shit.
yeah, that's like camping style.
Oh,
You'd have to clear some trees out to get through.
well, make a turret so somebody can be up there with a pole saw. Fuck, can you imagine seeing this monstrous thing going down a fucking ATV trail and there's guys on either side
Just
bush hogging, just fucking whacking a path for this thing to clear?
I could see that.
I could see that being a thing for sure.
I could see you creating that.
If I had more money than sense, I would absolutely do that.
Or if you had more money to match your sense.
Maybe. But I definitely need more than that.
You need more money.
I need more money.
Yeah.
I think I might create an OnlyFans and maybe like do something with my feet.
Just doing only feets.
Only feet.
Yeah, only feets.
Only feets and meats. Holding like pieces of bologna between my toes.
Ooh, now we're getting fancy because I've seen them put like ranch and ketchup, but we're talking bologna and turkey.
We're gonna call it feet meat.
Hey, we might even have Italian Day where we put some, what is that, pastrami?
Yeah, you got all kinds of stuff.
And what was that stuff you had?
Prosciutto?
Prosciutto, yeah.
Prosciutto's delicious.
Breast mozz and prosciutto between the toes.
It'd be toe jam. Oh God. All right. Well, I think that's enough of our insanity for everybody to take. They're probably already like, God, these guys are retarded. That wraps it up for us here at Bourbon Sauce. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. The more you like and share, the better the chances are we can grow the channel. Plus, the algorithms love it. Also, check out our Instagram page at www.instagram.com/bourbon sauce, where you can see clues on upcoming events as well as see photos that pertain to our podcast. And you can message us there to give feedback and interact with us. Hope you come back. Until next time, enjoy your favorite beverage and get sauced.
Cheers.